I think a lot of times when I am going up against other agents, that's really what just sets me apart because I've heard multiple times, whether it's on the listing side or whether it's on the buyer side, that I'm just the most thorough. I think that's really what just sets me apart.
You reminded me of something. Sometimes in real estate, you don't get a second opportunity. You don't get a second
Right.
chance to go back or circle back around to that client, that best foot forward and sell it. And I'm going to use a phrase, full send. You know what I mean? Show them what you can do.
My name is DelRae Vasquez, and I am a realtor here in Colorado. My area of expertise is going to be Colorado Springs. We do have 5 military bases around us. So we have Peterson Space Force Base, we have Schriever Space Force Base. Then, of course, we have Fort Carson, we have the United States Air Force Academy. So just really military
It's all,
focused.
you've
Yeah.
got a broad reach when it comes to different military commands and different bases.
Yeah, and it's such a blessing because you really do see just the difference in people and where they come from. And it's just this beautiful, like, melting pot, right?
I appreciate you a ton for being on this call with me today. And DelRae, so you are DelRae Vasquez. You're just a badass real estate agent in the Colorado Springs area. And did a little bit of digging. I love your team or company. You know, we've got your back, home group.
Mhm.
I love that. You're obviously connected with the military, but can you give me a little bit more background of where you come from, why real estate, and why the military crowd?
Originally, I am an Air Force brat. So my
Okay.
mother was in the Air Force. Then my father was also in the Army. And so it's kind of just ingrained in me in general. And I have a ton of family that is also in the military, special forces. Well, then I met my husband in 2011, and he was active duty. Being a veteran spouse now, he did almost 10 years, did 2 tours in Iraq, and he only really got out because he was presented with an opportunity to turn professional in boxing.
Okay.
And in the Army, you're not able to do both. So you kind of have to make a decision. But then the age for boxing and really hitting top tier, it's a very small window. So my husband really had to just make the decision of what he was going to do. So
Sure.
he made the choice to get out. I mean, we're very proud Americans and it runs through and through for us. So even with him taking a step away, it's just always been something that we have held dear to our heart. Even when he was boxing, he used his title in boxing. All of the majority of his uniforms were always military based. It's just a huge part of our lives together.
I love it, and myself included, in that sense where when you go through that journey in life, that period of life where you spend time in the military and you're connected to the military, for most of us, that never goes away. Like,
Mhm.
I only did 5 years, and now at this point, I've been out since 2007, so it's been a long time, and I'm like, crap, I'm just getting older, but it never goes away. You know, it's such a strong. You're like doing the math.
If you have done any time in the military, even as a spouse, right? There is a huge period of time, and maybe it really doesn't even really go away, that you have not an identity crisis, but it's just like, what do I do now? Who am I? Like, for my husband, he only knew to either be a soldier or he only knew to be a professional boxer. But that is such a deep core of who he is that it'll be something that he'll never lose because
Sure.
he is so proud of what it is that he has achieved, even at such a young age, even doing his deployments. I mean, his very first one, he celebrated his 21st birthday deployed. It's just a huge part, and we're just so proud. And I'm super proud as a wife, of everything that he's achieved and has done. And so it really just goes back to prior to real estate, I was in the medical field, and COVID changed a lot. And it just got to the point where it became so toxic
Sure.
that I really needed to find something else. Well, when my husband decided to move away from boxing, he ended up investing in a company that was for home securities and business security. So we were kind of just going back and forth, like, what could I do for work that would just benefit one another because we're complete opposites in every single way. So I think we both know that we balance one another's strengths and weaknesses, but we can't necessarily work together.
I totally get that.
He was just like, hey, like, what about real estate? You know, because then I can promote you. I already have the clientele. So any of my customers, if they call me and say, hey, I'm looking to move, I'm going to need to move my systems, I could say, yeah, I'll move your system for you. And do you have a real estate agent? Because if not, you know, my wife could help serve you. And in the same sense, if I get clients,
I love
then
it.
I can promote him and say, hey, like, you know, this is one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make. What are you doing to protect it? And then I can also, you know, highlight my husband and his business.
There's such a great partnership. I mean, you guys, like you mentioned, you're opposites, but you're always there for you. And you literally, you're each other's salespersons, right? You're like getting it sold, if that's the right term we want to use. You're just getting it done. And that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got a new young military family coming to town and they're looking at purchasing a home. What are the common challenges that they face in your area in Colorado Springs, and how do you help them navigate that?
So in Colorado Springs, our biggest issue right now, and I don't know if you guys are experiencing it in California, so you can let me know if you guys are, but our biggest thing right now is just inventory. We don't have the homes here for the population. And even our military base, Fort Carson, for example, when soldiers would come on, we would have barracks designated to them, except
Sure.
if you were a family. But those have even been removed. So a lot of the soldiers are having to come here and use their BAH, but they don't have the houses. We don't have the inventory for them. So that seems to be the biggest thing that we run into a lot currently, is just not having the housing for them.
Yeah, there's nowhere for them to go at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So oftentimes the biggest thing is they will post up in an apartment, you know, for 6 months, and we'll just watch the market in those 6 months and hopefully able to pounce on something that comes that fits their needs.
What about new construction? Are they starting to build more? Is that a slower process? And what does that look like?
No, so we are building more. New construction is really big right now. They're having a ton of incentives here that you just honestly can't even beat in resale, but they're slow going because our weather has been so crazy right now that we haven't been able to hit the amount of homes that we really want to. So I was just speaking to a builder yesterday. We just had this huge event that we have every year, and it's called Breakfast with the Builders. And realtors are granted the opportunity to go, and each builder is set up at a table, and you can just literally go down the line and meet with builders, hear about their inventory, hear about their product, hear about their core values. Oftentimes they have like a list of what they currently have available that's move-in ready right now,
That's
as well as
cool.
incentives, whether it's including appliances or if they're offering concessions. And so that's really helpful. That was really helpful yesterday, just getting an idea.
In a way, that was kind of like a speed dating session.
It is like a speed dating session. The only negative
That's cool.
side to that is, for example, we have a town here that is called Fountain, and it's just right on the outskirts of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And Fountain, honestly, is probably what I would consider the hub for military, because you can access 3 of the bases within 20 minutes, if not less. The problem with that is there's really only, I'd say, 3 builders that are actively building right now in the Fountain area. It's just slow going because of the weather. So
Unfortunately, yeah, that weather puts a stop to many things. I wouldn't know what that's like. Sunny San Diego, but we pay a heavy sunshine tax for sure. Given the natural beauty of Colorado Springs, I've been out to Denver, so I'm a little familiar with the area. Not Colorado Springs specifically. When we talk about outdoor activities and things to do, what would one of your recommendations be?
one of my favorite things, and since I am a Colorado native, I still do this every summer. If you don't know anything about Colorado, Colorado is a very active state. When you
is.
get a little bit of nice weather, you will see just everyone come out. They love it because it is so beautiful. So some of like the top things that people love to do is we have little older towns like Manitou and Old Colorado City. Those are going to have like all of your mom and pop shops. They're going to have the eclectic kind of shopping that really you would only get if you go down to these areas. Manitou is also known for having our incline. Do you know what that is?
We're not talking like Pikes Peak, like we talking like races up and down, like
No, so it is part of Pikes Peak, but it is
okay.
a hike straight up the mountain. It's over 2,000 steps. And then on the way down, if you were to take the trail down, it's 4 miles
Oh my
down the
gosh.
trail, a mile straight up if you go up the steps.
So I'm at sea level, right? I'm at like 7 foot elevation.
Yeah,
So I would die because I can imagine what's the elevation out by you?
like
6,000 feet?
I think I'm at
Oh
7.
my gosh. Yeah.
But you're talking Pikes Peak is a 14er. So
Yeah.
when you're climbing that alone, and I'm a native and I still struggle to climb it. I'm like,
Sure. Yeah.
it's huge here. And again, even being in the boxing scene, right? You'll see a ton of professional fighters when they're getting ready for their fights. They actually come here
Of
for the
course.
altitude and they train here and they'll do the incline up and down numerous times a day just for training.
Expand their lungs, get their
Mhm.
lungs accustomed to that, having to breathe quite a bit more to get more
Yeah.
oxygen.
Other sites that people really love is like we have the Garden of the Gods, which is beautiful. They're all natural rocks. And then we have Cave of the Winds, which is like a very rare entity that we have. So you like
Okay.
pay a ticket and you can literally go and climb through these caves. We have so many opportunities here to be outdoors.
I'm an outdoorsy guy. I literally, I didn't tell you this, but we almost moved out to Denver when I got out of the Marine Corps. Of course, that didn't happen. I'm still here, but all this talk about the outdoors, it's making me hungry. So let's shift over to food.
Okay.
Great places to eat. Like
Yeah.
what are just a few of your recommendations if someone visits and moves to the Colorado Springs area?
So I'm a big foodie too, so I
Yeah.
love trying new things. One of the biggest things that we currently have right now is food courts. I don't know if
Okay.
you guys have these in California, but essentially we have a place that's called Kuwati,
Okay.
and it is a huge building that has like a whiskey brewery inside of it, has an ice cream inside of it. It has just like a regular bar place inside of it. It has like a New York
Sure.
style pizza. They have Korean food in there. They have Southern food in there.
Yep.
And you can just go and literally hit whatever you want to, order your food, and then it'll ping on your phone that it's ready. And you can just hang out and collaborate with people. And there's like food for everyone.
That is
Um,
so awesome. Yeah.
it
We've
is
got a
so
few of those. That's great.
Yeah, me and my husband never saw one until we went to New Mexico. That was the first time we had ever experienced it. And now the Springs currently has 2. So it's really nice. That's cool. One of our other favorite places to go is the Rabbit Hole.
Okay.
And the outside of it is actually like a subway to look as if you were going to go down into the subway. And it used to be, it's my understanding, I think it was an insane asylum back in the day.
Oh, crazy. Literally
Yeah.
crazy.
The whole theme of it is Alice in Wonderland, but they serve like really delicate, different types of food, like rabbit. I
Okay.
think my husband had, I think he had buffalo ribs or something like that the last time we went. They have really good duck there.
So that sounds like something that's maybe maybe a little bit more high end, definitely something that's unique and right. You can maybe
You
go
would think
go
so, but it's really not. It's
okay.
actually pretty affordable, but the vibe of it definitely feels a lot more high end for
Sure.
sure.
That sounds awesome because I think nowadays people want, there's so many restaurants and places to go and places to eat, but what people are really looking for are things that are unique and that
Mhm.
really take the surrounding environment and make it something really cool.
There's a strip down in the Springs off of the street. It's called Tejon,
Okay.
and they really have a lot of those different type of restaurants there, the mom and pops. There's a few of the chains here and there, but for the most part, it's all going to be a lot of food that you wouldn't get anywhere else. If I had someone coming, that would be what I would tell them to do, would be to go down off of Tejon, because it's just literally a whole strip.
So kind of what we've talked about so far is talking about, restaurants and things that do, and some of these kind of blend together. And when we talk about venues, are there any other like happening entertainment spots? Some cool places of that nature.
So outside of the Springs, we have the Red Rocks Amphitheater, and that's known for holding a ton of concerts, some
Right.
that will blow your mind, just unforgettable experiences. And then we actually currently in the Springs have a new amphitheater being built. I believe it'll probably be a hot commodity either this summer or next summer. I don't know what the expected finish date of it is, but
Sure.
that'll be the next one coming.
That'll be cool. And concerts and outdoor venues, those are great. And that Red Rocks, that's like it's all natural, right? So does the
Mhm.
sound, it's kind of built in that way, is that correct?
So definitely the surrounding definitely
Okay.
vibrates it, when there are concerts there, which is why people just say like it's unforgettable. But
Sure.
even on the like being outdoorsy, they hold yoga there. People work out over there, doing the steps up and down. They have like morning meditations there just because of the site itself.
I want to go. I want to go to Colorado Springs. We were out there for a short period of time, in the Denver area. California is amazing, but I definitely want to see more places. So,
Yeah, I've been to San Diego twice, but much younger, like in my teen years. I haven't really, well, no, I guess I have experienced it one time as an adult. We did take our kids there and, of course, did all of the touristy stuff like SeaWorld and the San Diego Zoo and everything, which was all
okay,
really nice. Like, we're just now getting to the point of what I would say is almost like competing with Denver,
sure.
because for a long time you would have to make that drive to get to do anything like the aquarium. We do have the Denver Zoo, but personally we have a Cheyenne Mountain Zoo that's down in the Springs that I prefer. I think it's better, it's nicer,
Right.
but
Maybe less people, less crowded, maybe. I don't know.
I just in general I think it's better set up. You have a lot more hands-on with the animals versus like something that is so large that you really just have to plan for a whole day to get through. So I just think it limits the experience for the kids when it's that large.
Sure. It's too much of a corporation versus, a smaller venue that's more intimate, I guess.
Intimate
Probably
is
the
a
right.
good word.
Yep.
Intimate is a good word.
So when it comes to events, things that happen maybe annually or quarterly, are there any awesome events that Colorado Springs holds that would be something amazing to go to?
One of the crazy things that we have that happens every year is down in Manitou, we have the coffin races.
Oh, I was not expecting this. Okay, tell me
Yeah,
more.
but it's something I like it because it's just something that like your reaction, right? Is like, what,
Yeah,
but it is people decorate these coffins and they literally go down this hill in Manitou Springs while there's crowds on the sides and they just watch these coffins with these people like go down the strip. Another one is we have our Christmas parade, which is really big. That's also off of Tejon. So they shut down Tejon completely. And it is this large parade, large event that happens every year where schools come in and they play. Our local, that they'll be mad if I don't say this, but our local realtor sector here, we have actually taken home the trophy the most out of everybody for competing in the floats. Yeah.
I love
Um,
it.
so it's like a very serious thing here. Aside from that, something that's kind of real estate involved was we also have something here called the Parade of Homes. And so
Okay.
just like we have breakfast with the builders, the Parade of Homes actually gives you the opportunity to go and walk multiple homes that builders have built. Some put up one, some put up numerous ones. I think this year we had like 32 houses. And so you buy a ticket and you can literally spend, I think it's like 3 weeks, and you can go and visit these homes and get ideas or just see like the products themselves.
So this is
Um,
for potential clients or for real estate
no,
agents?
not even clients, not even real estate agents. It's just for the community.
Anybody,
And
the open
people
public. That's cool.
People love it. You're talking, I worked 2 houses this year for 2 separate builders. One was a little bit further out east, so it didn't get as much footwork. Whereas another builder, there was like 4 other homes from different builders in the same area. And that house was seeing like 400 plus people a day. It is such a great way to meet people, but they love it because they can either A, go in there and steal ideas to redo their house, or B, then they have an opportunity to see what builders actually are offering. And it's even like you can do custom home builders and you can do the builders that are popping up hundreds of houses, each build. So it really gives them a great opportunity for that. Some other things is in another town called Cripple Creek. It's a little bit over an hour away, I think. We have ice castles that are done every year.
So is that like a Christmas thing?
No,
Oh.
well, kinda, but not really. It's not Christmas themed. It's more,
Okay.
I guess, more just cold themed. So
Okay,
it
got it.
happens in the winter, but they create these extravagant castles and they make slides and everything out of ice.
Super cool. That's something I'm not familiar
Very
with.
cool.
One other further question when we talk about neighborhoods, and you've talked a lot about, new construction, some newer communities that are popping up. Are there any lesser known communities and neighborhoods, hidden gems within the Colorado Springs area that you would highly recommend to a new family coming to the area?
I wouldn't say hidden gems because I
Okay.
think that in Colorado Springs, there really isn't anything that's hidden. It's one of those things like once somebody finds something good, word of mouth,
It spreads like
catches on.
wildfire, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, we are seeing a ton of growth happen more in our southern areas of the state. And then we're having a ton of growth more so in the north side as well, which is highly preferred is North Colorado Springs. One of the biggest areas that I personally love, I wouldn't say it's a hidden gem. It is a little bit upper echelon, but the only reason why I love it so much is because you just cannot beat the views, is going to be our Winsome area. And this is like an area where any builder can go in and build for you. You just have to own the land. So
Okay.
really you can have any sort of home there. That might be a little bit of our hidden gem because not a lot of people are aware of it. But yeah,
Okay.
good things get ruined when people find out about them.
With where you're located, you've probably got more land available than we do out here in San Diego. I mean, unfortunately, out here you've got to go pretty far east to get a new plot of land. There's still some things coming out there here and there, but for the most part, things are pretty well developed. Unfortunately,
It is the
um,
same for here. Like, we really don't have anything. You can't build on the west side of the state anymore. So really the only opportunity that you have is to build out east.
you're
And
right.
there is a new community. Maybe you could say it's a hidden gem. It does have quite the community already, but it's definitely up and coming. It's actually going to be its own city. It's going to be Mayberry is the
Okay.
build, and the town itself will be Mayberry, Colorado Springs. And something about them that's really great is that they are actually incredibly affordable for the average home buyer. And on top of that, they offer a ton of options like mother-in-law suites, or they also offer actual RV garages connected to your house, which RVs are huge here. People love
Yeah,
camping, but
I
they
would
have
love
to
that.
pay to keep their equipment like off site because a lot of the communities here have HOAs and
Sure.
they're not allowed. So I would say Mayberry could possibly be a hidden little gem, but it's definitely for somebody who wants to go further east because right now, my current location, I'm about 15-20 minutes to the actual town of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And Mayberry is probably an additional 15 minutes away from me east. So probably about 35-40 minutes to get to the springs.
Look, in my mind, that's all doable. I'm accustomed to driving everywhere. I'm in right next to Oceanside, and it's about 40 minutes down to downtown. We drive everywhere. Well, aside from real estate, and you can correlate to real estate if you want, but what other ways do you give back to the military community specifically?
So definitely something that's big here is our Mount Carmel. I don't know if you're aware of what they do, but really Mount Carmel just helps our veterans adjust to civilian life, even long-term wise. So they provide stuff like helping with employment, medical resources. They get you connected to our vet centers, our vet hospitals. And so one of the biggest things though is they always need volunteers or they always need donations. They really help our homeless community as well. So just donating to those is really great, something that we definitely do. We do hold events. So one of the events that we'll be doing probably when it warms up a little bit is we'll be doing a cornhole tournament. My husband loves cornhole, but it will just be specifically to our military. And then we'll have regulations for like the
Sure.
scoring aspect of it. But then you have an opportunity to win, you know, a large lump sum at the end of that. One of my other state leaders here, Matthew, we are actually also in July holding a huge event that is going to be haircuts for heroes. And
Okay.
so what we'll be doing is we have partnered with a local barber shop, and his barbers for the day will just be literally serving community and allowing our soldiers, to include women, to come in and get a free haircut for the day. And then we'll have a ton of different vendors to just make it like a very large community event. So live music, a bunch of stuff for the kids, bounce houses, face painting. And then later in the evening, we're doing a live fireworks show. So just like those small little to give back. I love what you did, you know, in December, the Santa thing. So I definitely think that that'll be something that we look for doing this upcoming Christmas time. And then also, you know, something that I think gets forgotten a lot about is we are always quick to serve our soldiers, which my heart is there and I love that, but often spouses get forgot about as well. My partner and I, we're definitely going to be doing an event this year that is just designated to spouses,
Good.
whether that is like renting out a movie and just doing like where, you know, childcare will be provided and you can come and watch this movie on us and the treats are all provided, or maybe even just doing something where it's like renting out one of our popular bounce houses to where the moms can literally just let their kids go and play for 2 hours at no cost to them, and they can just have a breather for a moment, you know, especially the spouses where maybe their spouse is deployed and they've been the one holding down the fort now for, you know, however long, just giving them a break as well. So
That's great. And because, the spouses, you guys do so much as spouses. So I got married after the Marine Corps because I was like, nope, I'm good. But I can only imagine. And I've worked with a lot of people that have been married to a service member for, 15, 20 years plus years. And spouses go through a lot and literally the backbone of that military service member. So,
yeah, I agree. I
yes.
agree.
In real estate, what's a really rewarding time that you've worked with a service member or veteran?
Probably my very first military client is one of the ones that stands out to me and will probably always stand out to me because not only was I a new agent, but I was also competing against a seasoned agent. And I really just didn't even think that I was going to get it for that reason. But shout out to
Sure.
Joe. He gave me an opportunity and he gave me a shot. And I was really the only agent in his area. He owned a townhome at the time. I was the only agent in the area who listed what we listed at, who also got that amount. Everybody else ended up price cutting, and even now checking back over in that market because I have actually another soldier looking to sell his. The market just changed very quickly. So we were the only ones that were successful in getting the amount that we asked for, which the market showed it was worth at that time. But really, he just stands out to me in so many ways because I was a new agent. He was my first military client. He's also probably one of my funnier stories because he was colorblind and never mentioned it to me. And so, one of the rooms in his townhome, I told him he needed to paint. And so, probably the next day, 2 days later, he calls me over, asks me, like, what do I think? And I said, oh, it looks good. And he said, well, how close is it? And I said, how close is what? He's like, the paint colors. And I'm like, I mean, it's pretty spot on. And he said, oh, okay, because I went to Lowe's and I just grabbed a bunch of like splotches and I put
Sure.
them up on the wall and I called my mom and told her to pick which one looks like the closest. And so I just told him, like, man, if you would have told me you were colorblind, I would have went to the store with you and just picked out
Right.
the paint. But also, he just, like, afterwards, since we were able to get that amount and he really walked away with a good chunk of change, even now is super loving and we stay in touch even though he's in New York now. And so I think he'll always have a special place in my heart because he really just did give me an opportunity and allowed me to be successful. And then afterwards, he just, like, really sang my praise, which as a new agent, is like so good to have someone acknowledge you and see like everything that you did for them because you get scared. He'll probably always be the one that sticks out to me. And then, of course, I helped a bunch of other soldiers, but I think my first will always be the one that like will stay close to my heart for sure.
That's a great story. And it being the first scenario, right? I mean, you're so motivated to get it done. And you're right. That is something that he's probably never going to forget. And of course, you're not going to forget it. You had a huge impact on his life, right? Making that
Right.
happen. Can you think of anything that you said you competed against others, you got it done? Can you think of anything specifically that enabled that to happen? That you put into place? Was it the communication with the other side? Was there something that makes it stand out?
No, I mean, we got multiple offers, which was really great. But I just really put my systems into place, honestly. And I'm a great communicator in general. So I think communication definitely helps because when I meet with my clients, I give everything up to them up front. I'm not somebody that believes in just like giving you a nibble of what I can do and then hopefully you'll choose me. I'm very much like, let me present it to you. This is what I
Good.
do from the very first step to the very last step. And I promise to always give you that level of customer service. And so I think a lot of times when I am going up against other agents, that's really what just sets me apart because I've heard multiple times, whether it's on the listing side or whether it's on the buyer side, that I'm just the most thorough. I think that's really what just sets me apart.
So that is awesome. And thank you for sharing that because I wanted you to sell yourself a little bit. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder, right? And that is awesome because you reminded me of something. Sometimes in real estate, you don't get a second opportunity. You don't get a second
Right.
chance to go back or
Hmm.
circle back around to that client. There's so much noise and there's a lot of competition. So if
Hmm.
you put that best foot forward and sell it, and I'm going to use the phrase, fucking full send, you know what I mean? Show them what you can do. Like you got to put the best foot forward, and you very apparently you did that. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I'll give it one more, and this one last question is going to be like, hey, we talked about Colorado Springs and talked about your market and some great places to go to, whether it's restaurants or other venues or outdoor activities. I'd love to send you business. You're a great
Yeah.
referral partner for out in Colorado Springs, and I really appreciate our collaboration and our connection, especially here moving forward. You and I are both a part of the EXP Realty, our brokerage, but we're both a part of the EXP Military Network, both state squad leaders for our
Yeah.
respective states. And so let's go. Don't hate on me because I'm California, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Trust me, I get it.
but
I've grown up in
I
other
love
states.
California.
Yeah, I'm here until my kids get older and get out of high school, but I love it. One last thing, tell me how people can get a hold of you, name, company, social media handles, all of that?
Pretty much all of my social media handles will be DelRae Vasquez Realtor, but you can always reach me on my personal phone number, which is 719-231-1589. You can reach me by email, which will be DelRae, so DelRae at El Paso co.com. And that'll be for El Paso County, Colorado, which is really where my market really is. Aside from that, yeah, you can just reach me on pretty much any social media handle if that's how you feel comfortable.
To our network and our military community, if you ever have questions about my local market and even more specifically the Colorado Springs, definitely, like, comment, share this video and get it out there, because we're here to help each other out. So that is so awesome. And thank you for being a part of this. And I look forward to further collaboration between you and I down the road. And awesome. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
your
you so
time.
much for having me. I appreciate it.
Are you military veteran, active duty, or retired? Hit me up. Click the link attached in the profile, and I'll connect you with the right realtor. Doesn't matter what state, doesn't matter if they're in another country. I've worked with military professionals that know the military, that know what we have gone through, have walked the walk, and have talked the talk. Click the link, and I'll get you connected with them. I'll also send you my PCS relocation guide for free. Click the link. Let me help you out. Let me get you connected with the right person with the right resources, no matter what state or country.